Hello, today I'm going to review the book Slammed by Colleen Hoover. If you've seen the thumbnail to this video, then you know how I feel. First up, so many spoilers. I'm going to spoil you because I want to go into depth about this book. So, where to begin? This is my first ever Colleen Hoover. This is very hyped on the old booktubes, very successful book. It's about a girl called Lake. Her dad dies and her mum and her brother have to move to a different state. Fine. Day one, she meets the boy across the road, and day one, she falls in love with him. A few days later, they're dating, they're together. The reason it's called Slammed is because they go to a poetry slam. And poetry slam is basically like performance poetry. It's when people are like, I am the bee, like that kind of thing. I love it. She goes to school, walks into a classroom, her poetry classroom. Who's the teacher? It's only the boy she's now dating. He's called Will. And he is 21, she's 18, so it's not an underage thing, but he is a teacher, he is going to teach her, and he says, we can't be together anymore. Oh my god, I didn't know you were going to be my student, I had no idea, I thought you were older than what you are, even though she tells him she's 18. Like, if you worked in teaching, you'd make sure, if you met an 18-year-old, that they weren't going to the local school, wouldn't you, if you teach there? Anyway, I've made notes, guys. These tabs are bits in the books that I didn't enjoy. So I'm just going to go through the notes and then this will kind of get you more into the story. She goes to kiss him on their date and he stops her and goes, patience. And then he leans into her and then they end up kissing. And that's when you realise very early on that everything is dictated by him. How they kiss, what physical contact they have together, when they're going to have contact together. He's in complete control of her throughout the whole of the book, and that was my main problem with it, is that he does want to kiss her. In many scenes he wants to kiss her, but he'll always stop her. He always takes away her confidence and dictates everything that they do, and I hated that. Like, if I was going to kiss someone and they were like, patience, I'll be like, I'm sorry that you missed your chance, his lips aren't yours. They then find out that he's her teacher and he says, you've got to change your class. I don't want to teach you. I'm doing poetry, you've got to change something else. And there's only limited options, so she's like, she doesn't really want to do Russian literature, but she goes to change to do Russian literature. And then he says, actually, I've changed my mind. Again, dictating every single thing throughout the book. She's taken the time to go and try and change to please him. And then he's like, when she does exactly what he says, no, I will teach you now because I've decided to. And I was just like, oh god, so early on in the book he's this controlling over everything, and then he'll control her, and then when she's like following down his little path, he'll change the path, so she has to follow again. It's like a maze with him to get any kind of approval. And you find out that his parents have died and he is the guardian to his younger brother. So he's saying, I can't lose my job, we can't date. He's being very aggressive about the whole situation. It's not her fault, it's no one's fault, you know. Well, it's his fault really. Let's be honest. If you were, he's a student teacher, which means he's still a teacher, and you met an 18-year-old who had just moved into the neighbourhood, wouldn't you just check they weren't going? Anyway, calm down, Hannah, calm down. So they've decided not to have contact with each other, not to be together, because he's got to provide for his little brother. Fine, that's fine, okay, stay the hell away from her, okay? Her younger brother and his younger brother are best friends, but still, they don't have to really interact that much. It's chill. And then what happens is she goes round his house, he lets her in, and then they start kissing. He pushes her down on the sofa, he takes off his shirt, they're making out, getting into it, and then he goes, Laken, get up, he demands. This can't happen, and starts shouting at her and making her feel guilty. And so she says, I feel embarrassed, shameful, guilty, and he turns everything against her. So if they kiss, if they have a lapse of judgment and end up snogging each other, he will always go, Laken, why are you doing this? Stop doing this, Laken. It'll always be him having a go at her and making out that she is doing these things. And the majority of things that happen throughout the book happen in his house that he lets her into. She also says, I'm falling in love with you, so he knows that she's going to do whatever he wants her to do. So this constant like demanding of everything was starting to make me feel physically ill. Then I saw a theme happening throughout the book, and every time he'd do something like out of order, like shout at her or be aggressive, or they go to kiss and then he'd push her away, I would put a little tab next to it. and then he'd apologise, so I'd take the tab away, I'd be like, okay, he's apologised, and then I realised he was doing it every single day. This isn't set over a long period of time at the beginning of the book. And then they're at school, she's still in his class and everything, and a girl comes up to her and says, do you want to go on a date with this boy? And she's like, yeah, sure, because she's trying to integrate with the school, she's trying to make friends, whatever. And he opens his desk drawer, throws his pad in, throws his pen in, slams the drawer shut. Everyone's in shock because he's being really, really aggressive. And then as she's about to leave the class, he says, oh, I'll look after your brother, shall I? Because your mum will be at work and you'll be on your date. This is at school, in a formal environment that he's doing this. So I was just like, oh my god, this is overstepping. She's at lunch with her friends, and he takes her out of lunch from her friends and says, I need to talk to you, and apologises again. So he apologises every other day for an aggressive thing that he does throughout this book. That's not right, that's not normal behaviour. And Colleen Hoover kind of puts that as, nobody's perfect, we're all humans. That's true, people do make mistakes, but not every other day. You make a mistake and you make it a few times, then you learn from your mistakes. You don't keep doing it to someone, it's control. He's trying to wear her down. And I'm not making judgments on Colleen Hoover's life. I don't know if this is what she thinks a normal relationship is, because at the end it's like, this is normal, they've been through ups and downs, but it's nothing much. But I would say this is a highly controlling relationship. I don't know if this is Colleen's reality or what is her fantasy. So something like 50 Shades of Grey, the author has said, this is a fantasy. I haven't lived this life. This is just a fantasy. It's in my opinion, very unhealthy fantasy. But it's her fantasy. She can do what she wants. So I don't know where Colleen Hoover's coming from this. So she's trying to make friends with him, trying to integrate. It's continually pulling her towards him, but he doesn't want to date her. So just keeping her over here in this isolation where he can like have a go at her and be aggressive and wear her down. This book is awful. Now for a big spoiler in the book is that her mum has cancer and she is dying. There's nothing that can be done. But you find that out quite late on in the book, so you don't have a lot left to really connect with that and do anything about it. So the girl runs away from her mum when her mum's telling her, runs into Will's house. Will says, yep, sure, come in, you can stay the night, when she tells her that her mum's got cancer. That's not right. And she starts frantically cleaning Will's house. She's going mad, she's going manic. And when you find out something quite shocking, your emotions normally are very shocking. He comes home and he's annoyed that she's colour-coded his clothes. There's annoyance in him about this whole situation. But she's manic and he needs to let her do it. But what does good old Prince Charming Will over here? What he does is he throws water over her. She's sitting on the floor. He then he picks her up, puts her in the bathroom, holds her against the wall in the shower so she can't move. Says, I tried to punch him, I tried to get away from him. He then turns on the shower and this cold water, goes all over her clothes. He comes out the bathroom door and he is holding the door so she can't get out. She's stuck in his bathroom. And she's saying, let me out, Will, now. I beat on the door. She tries to get out. And he says to her, I'm not letting you out. Take off your clothes, get in the shower, wash your hair and calm down. Which I was like, she just found out her mum is dying of cancer. How dare you speak to her like that? How dare you also lay your hands on this girl? Not normal behaviour. Even if this person is your best friend, that is not normal. And he's suppressing her emotions because it's annoying him. And then she says, damn it, Will is right again. What? Like he's just physically, he's physically picked you up, physically thrown you in. That's not normal loving behaviour. That's extreme. That's not right. Oh my god, this book. Then we get to a bit in the book where he's not only abusive to her, he's abusive to her friend, who is one of his students. Just when you think it can't get worse, it does. So she's made a friend with this girl, Eddie, who I really liked, who's in foster care, and I wanted to know more about Eddie's story, but it was all about Lake and Will. It was a romance. The whole book was just this dysfunctional romance. So Eddie works out what's going on with Lake and Will. And then Will gives them both detention. One completely inappropriate because they're at school. Why give them detention for something that's your fault because you're dating a student? Why punish them? And they're kind of messing around in detention and they're just cracking jokes and they're very nervous. And she says, well, we were nervous, like we're cracking jokes, don't really know what to do. So Will gets up from his desk, slams his fist against his desk and stands up. And then it says, neither Eddie nor I are laughing at this point. And you get the feeling that these two girls are really scared at this point that this man is like losing it. He then starts talking about his brother and how he's going to lose his job, and if Eddie tells anyone, then she's going to be like responsible for his brother going into care. Eddie, who is in the care system, which is never referenced within that point at all, and he's really scaring these girls, and I just hated that. He's a teacher at school scaring at these two girls at a mistake he's made outside school, but somehow it's their fault. Nice one, nice move. And then she says, we spend the next hour alone, willingly sitting in our much deserved detentions. No, no, you don't deserve detention, because what he did was wrong. He shouldn't have been dating you, a student. So to date you and then to punish your friend for finding out about his wrong mistake is disgusting. So that bit I was just like, oh, please don't. Throughout the book there were pages that were just slam poetry, which I enjoyed the slam poetry bits. I did think they were good. Something happens in it where this boy kind of assaults Lake. He goes to kiss her and then he won't let go of her, and then Will comes and beats this boy up who is one of his students. One quick point about that is you kind of think, oh, like Will was good to drag that boy off of her and everything, and obviously he was angry that this boy was assaulting her, and then you find out later on that Will didn't think this boy was assaulting her. He thought she was kissing him back and that they were just kissing. So he just flew into a jealous rage and started beating up this boy. This is someone who is emotionally unstable. You should not be dating them. If my ex beat up my boyfriend now, I wouldn't think, which you're supposed to in this, oh my god, that's so romantic, he really loves me. He really cares for me. Oh my god, I think you are a psychopath and you are dangerous, and I'm worried that you are going to harm me. So that was all wrong. And then her mum says, when she's dying, she says, I think you should be with Will. Who was her teacher? Whatever. I think you should be with Will. And I just want to let you know that Will has decided why he didn't want to be with you in all of that time was because he wanted you to be with me. I was dying of cancer and he wanted you and me to build a connection with each other before I went. That's lies, because throughout the whole time she was coming around to his house, he was making out with her, he was then shouting in her face, being abusive at school, he was giving her detentions for stuff they'd done outside of school. He wasn't giving her space. So people who read this and think, oh yeah, no, he says he is, but if you look at his actions throughout the book, he has been manipulative and abusive throughout this whole of this book and controlled her. He has not given her a day of space throughout the whole of this book. So that whole thing of lies. Then at the end, they're together, her with her brother, his with his brother, they're living together, everything's fine, happy ending. What? They shouldn't be together. The only bits I liked of it was the slam poetry. How that was brought into the book about slam poetry, because I like slam poetry. So that's why I thought I would really connect and like this book. But their relationship at the end was painted as, people have ups and downs, oh well. No. No. And I just don't know what Colleen Hoover was thinking when she wrote this. Like I said, I don't know if this is her reality or a fantasy or what she thinks is normal. I don't know the woman. But this isn't normal. This isn't a normal relationship. This is a incredibly controlling, horrible relationship. I did not enjoy Slammed one bit. So leave down any books down below that you think are good books that I will like, and I will check them out. Tell me whether you liked this book and why, or if you didn't like it and why, and that as well. Okay, I need to go and like lay down after this. I will see you soon.
Why, Colleen? Why? Why would you put this in the world? Why?
I feel like I've just had a nervous breakdown. Oh my god.